See some people coming in. It's dark in the back, so if you have a question and you don't want to use the app, I will have to come over to you, but you have to raise your hand up really high, okay? We're going to the next speaker. I'm happy to introduce to you Marius Deak. He's the founder of Avandor, and his talk will be about the data-driven marketers checklist. Give him a warm welcome.
Hello. Can you guys hear? Can you guys hear me? Yeah, okay. Now I can hear myself. So good morning, I would say, for another 5 minutes. I'm Marius. I'm founder and CEO of a technology startup for marketing. Hold on, let me see. Okay. So I myself come from Romania. I am traditionally, or I have been for many years, an agency founder, owner, and head of strategy. So in my day-to-day work, I was working with a lot of marketers, sometimes publishers, in order to figure out how to get results. And doing that, we've always sort of hit walls in terms of we need some data, we need more data, we need data in order to actually be able to do better in terms of whatever KPIs we were chasing back then. The question is now, how many of you are marketers? Please raise your hands. Okay. And publishers? Okay. You're both. Okay. It's important to see. And how many of you are currently have come to this event trying to get your head on how you can leverage data better in what you do day to day? So for how many of you data and data strategy is something that brought you to this event, not to this panel specifically, for the whole Webit? Okay. So the problem that we see with many clients in many industries is that what's currently happening is really, really, really hard to grasp. So I'm trying to basically put some light, some small tips and hints that will help you work with data and basically make sense of what's happening in the industry today. And this is your problem right there. These are things, and they have names and acronyms, and basically there are many companies coming to your company and selling you any of that. So you basically need, does this have a pointer? Yeah. You basically need some data. You have maybe already a CRM, you need web analytics, you need a data management platform to collect it all and to make sense of it. You need to do some cross-device identification to figure out the person instead of the device. You need to do lookalike modeling, A/B testing, optimize. I'm just randomly picking stuff from it's also here. You need to do dynamic creative optimization. There are so many things, personalized email marketing, retargeting. I think half of you, or more than half, have used in time or wanted to use or have been approached by vendors in that. I'm here to apologize on behalf of the ad tech industry or martech industry because that is happening, and 99% of all clients I've ever met said, I don't understand shit of what's happening there. Which one's right for me? Which ones do I need? Which ones, how do I get them together? But the problem with all that is that it's, there are just a bunch of tools and a bunch of vendors. So the way we looked at it, I'm trying to figure out, this is my time. The way we looked at it is, okay, but before you actually go and do stuff with those tools, what do you want to do with it? I mean, what's your data strategy? Do you have one? Have you ever thought of where a strategy is basically you're in point A, you want to reach point B, and there's a path that you need to identify and be able to measure and optimize along the way. So what's yours? Most of the clients I met in different countries, They don't have a data strategy other than, oh, we'll get a DMP, or we'll get an SSP, we'll get whatever we can get our hands on that does something, and we'll figure out how to put them all together. So the first thing I would suggest, think about your data and create a strategy around it, and definitely write it. Right? You have, in your businesses, you have objectives, right? Real life objectives. You want to get places. And when you look at data usage and how to put it all together, you have to map your business objectives onto how you use data, how you create it, and how you put it to work for you. Because at the end of the day, if you're trying to sell whatever, this iPhone, right? Or if you're trying to sell a subscription plan for a service, you should have all your digital marketing aimed towards that. And if you have multiple products, you have to have like objectives to sell, to inform, and so on, and be able to measure all those KPIs. Of course, you need the right data. You have to think about it. Okay, what type of data do I need about my consumers that would allow me to target them better? What type of tools do I need out of the whole bubble thing I showed you before? What are the right metrics I should measure if my data is correct, is accurate? What things I should know about those people to be able to make decisions maybe in real time, or basically look at it from an analytics perspective to know how I can use data to optimize what I'm doing. And also a process is very, very hard. And then advice number 2 is you already have data. You're producing whatever you're doing, you're producing huge amounts of data. Probably you're not recording them all, and at some point you will want to use it. So my recommendation, start tracking everything you do. So if you display a banner ad today somewhere, remember the customer that you've displayed this ad and when. You might find this information useful later. And if you combine it with the right metrics, you will know that you've displayed this to, I don't know, a person who's going to have a baby, right? Track everything, all the incoming traffic, track all the social media, track the content, track the clicks on specific action buttons, and so on. And most importantly, if you're going to use various tools to track all that, try to use the same metrics so that the data you measure in your campaign, has the same foundation as the data you measure on your websites and on your email marketing. This way, you'll be able to understand the consumer across all these activities. I have to go a bit faster, yeah. Then, we've learned in time that it's always important to have the data you need based on your strategy, but that may not come from your own assets. So look in the market, see who has the data you need. So it may be intent data, and it's coming from classified ads. It may be it may be data for the same type of customer coming from clients in other industries. And we've had examples where a car brand, luxury watch company, and a fashion outlet, they pulled their data together because they are all talking to the same type of customer. So this way, they would all benefit from more data. And of course, there's a lot of data in the ecosystem, in your country, that can be shared and can be used. The condition is to have the same type of structure to it so that it will be like compatible. When you go to anyone in the market, you would have to basically ask for the same metrics that you're using on your own banners, campaigns, websites, content marketing, and so on. Now, in order to use the data, I think step number 1 is actually see what's happening. So you've got your processes in place, you've got your tracking, you're collecting everything that's happening, and you're already, you're already having the metrics aligned. Next step is to understand what's happening. Who are the best customers? What type of metrics drive sales on what type of products? What do people that buy this have in common with the people that buy that? Understanding will help you optimize how you find consumers, how you talk to them, which are the actual arguments that will support a buying decision, and at the end of the day, this is where you need to go, to personalize communication, as best as possible for each individual consumer. If you've already designed your next campaign and your key visual and messages all figured out, and then you come and say, now we need to look at the data and start adding data to it, it's a bit too late. So why not look at this from the beginning, plan for the objectives you have in your strategy, plan for groups of people, and yes, you will need to work hard to have different messages for different types of things you're trying to push, or different types of people based on what you learned in step number 4, but it's okay to do that. Why is this turning green? It's green. Okay. I have a timer here. It was white and now it's green. You hear a lot of programmatic. So programmatic these days, in most of the things you hear about, and all the talks, is about programmatic media buying. Right, but the problem is you can do a lot more with the data, and you're probably already doing it. How many of you use A/B testing? Ah, I see some hands. Have you ever used consumer data combined with the A/B testing to understand what thing works better for what type of customer, and then put it, to remain there instead of choosing the variant with the best conversion rate? So that's an example, but you will see different text. You can change the look and feel of your websites using data, and that's technology possible today. So think about programmatic and about real-time data use for marketing to go beyond buying impressions on website. You can do a lot more these days, and these are some recommendations. Of course, media buying is an important part, so you should do that. However, pay attention to how you're talking to the customer. So dynamic creatives, very important. You need to personalize based on everything you know about the consumer and his interaction with your brand so far. When you met for the first time, when he was the last time he did what on your sites, did he ever click on the previous campaign you ran? Did he ever sign up for whatever? Do you have his phone number, right? So all these things may determine what gets displayed on a specific creative. It may say, instead of become our customer, it may be, I don't know, thank you for being our customer. It's a very simple thing. Always it's good to run campaigns within campaigns. So if you're buying media for a consumer, you have to be able to have different type of messages based on the context and what else you know about that specific person. This is just a guideline I'm trying to do here, and basically make some sense, because then all the little tools will make sense. Biggest problem is getting multiple tools, multiple vendors to talk to each other and exchange data. And what's really important in this slide is, if you're running a media buying campaign, you have learnings. You have tools that optimize how media is bought. If you start measuring and get the learning of what type of people click and convert there, you can use that information elsewhere in real time to optimize something else, like what products get displayed on the same page. Just make sure that all your efforts share the same type of data structure, and that your ability to learn and shift learnings is real time, whatever you're doing, publisher or marketer. Predictions are important. You need to be able to grow your audience. You will need to be able to predict response. So it's not all remarketing. You need to find other customers like the ones you're just looking at. And there are tools for that, but again, you need to have some way of predicting what type of people will buy on the site this product using data on what type of people clicked on our last branding campaign, or more data sources like that. And the last thing, the innovations and the changes to this industry in the last 3 years have been dramatic in terms of what's possible and how they all work together. It's so new and everything's happening so fast that even if you get everything right today and you're ready to do what's needed, and today you're like top notch, there's nothing else you can improve, this will not be necessarily valid in 6 months from now. Something else will appear, new channels, your consumers might go elsewhere, so you will definitely need that. So that's it, data strategy in some compressed slides. I will just get some questions from you, and let me know what you think, or challenge, or say it's crap.
Thank you very much. Yeah, you may clap. That is allowed. Thank you. That's always nice if you're on stage. Are there questions?
It's impossible that everything was clear.
I have a question.
Yes.
If we look in the market, I don't know if you know that we're challenging the status quo here. How often do you experience when you're surfing online, wherever, that you just, maybe, let's say, a week after this event, or 2 weeks after this event, or a month after this event, that the airlines keep targeting you with buy tickets to Istanbul? No, idiots, I just came from there. I try to buy a new blazer because I grow, I'm a bit more heavy. I need a size 54 now. They keep targeting me. Size 52. I don't fit it, I'm sorry. So basically, Hughes and Zalando are saying, hey, you fat idiot, here's the jackets you wanted to buy, but you didn't fit. How can we make retargeting smart?
Well, actually,
because this is very annoying.
The reason I went from digital agency, very awarded and so on, to entrepreneur and start building a product that solves this, has to do with Amazon, right? I bought many things from Amazon.
Yeah.
One day, I bought a pair of dancing shoes for my sister. She's like, professional dancer.
Yeah.
6 months after that moment, I kept getting women's shoes in emails and whatever I could. And I said, okay, there's something really wrong with how they're processing right now their data, so I'm going to help them. That was happening some years back. Okay.
But your advice to the market is in the room. KLM, Turkish Airlines, Zalando, Hughes. Why are we retargeting like idiots? I want to keep you selling to Istanbul, but you've just been there. How can they improve that?
Because,
what should they do?
As I said, various tools that we use are not connected, and they're not sharing.
What do they miss in the tools? What do they need to improve to make retargeting, for example, smarter, better?
It's basically common sense. If you have to track the conversion, you have to remember that the person has just flown from Amsterdam to Istanbul, right? And connect that data with your CRM or whatever, history of booking history for that client, and there you have it. And just add a rule. If he just came from there, don't sell that ticket. Yeah. Sell something in Istanbul, sell a cruise, sell a hotel, try selling something else in Istanbul.
Might be smarter than offering the same tickets over and over.
At the end of the day, it is possible, but it's very hard for large companies to do this right from the beginning. Like telcos, they sit on mountains of data, but it's not that easy to get it up and running immediately. There's a process, it involves a lot of resources, and sometimes many vendors.
No, I get it, but I'm a client of KLM, Royal Dutch Airlines, I fly them a lot, I'm in the membership program. Can they just put some data to my cookie, Mr. Beuker just returned from Istanbul? Is that too difficult nowadays?
I will just say something to you. You're a client of one of the smartest data-wise companies, airlines in the world. If you want, we can talk about other airlines, and you'll have a lot more fun.
No, but it's for the marketers in this room. You might recognize the problem. How many of you are retargeted in a way that you feel like me? Yeah, some of you, most of you, or 50% of you.
Can I raise 2 hands?
Yeah.
Okay.
So there is work. Are there other questions on this topic? We have time for one more question, so let me see if it's on. It is. There you go.
Hello. Yeah. So my question is, again, to make retargeting smarter, I think platforms need to share information across. Because let's say, for example, you were searching on a particular site about flying to Istanbul, but you booked it on another website. How would they actually share the information across to know that I've been to Istanbul already? I think that's
This is possible,
Thank you.
and it's happening. And we've identified this problem and actually built up 2 products around it. One is through selected partnerships, a client can actually go to another type of data owner, another type of agency, and say, look, if you're selling my travel tickets, let's exchange some data so that I would also know that Igor just came to Istanbul. So that's easy to do on one peer-to-peer basis. There's another type of data which I mentioned as the ecosystem data, and that basically has to do with a lot of type of companies in the country. They work together and put some carefully selected bits and pieces of data into a bigger pool. Call it like a public data pool that everyone can then access. So, for example, if you go, it's happening in one of the markets we've done it. Several banks put data in, and that data is helpful to telcos or to car companies. However, publishers put some other type of data which helps banks. So IKEA is helping Vodafone. Vodafone's helping BMW. BMW's. This is all happening because as I said, the data you usually need is not necessarily the data you have.
Okay.
So you need to get access to some other data. Normally you would go and buy data. You would go and buy data. So this ecosystem approach makes this aggregated data free for everyone participating. Okay. That's what we're going to...
We should work to collaborative ecosystems and not ego systems, where we all keep in mind. And
yes.
Thank you.
It's a longer discussion, but yeah.
I thank you very much for your questions. Thank you very much, Marius. Give him a big applause. Thank you very much.